Naturally curly, so she looked like that and I looked like that. I was so mad.
In that picture? In that picture,
Well,
you were
the whole
mad?
situation, we had on those cute little dresses Mother bought for us, and look, I've got a tooth gone, and they took Aunt Lily gave Kitten a permanent, and her hair just looked darling. And mine, they wouldn't give me a permanent because it had natural curl in it. It's a cheat. So, and I'm still mad, so there.
I can tell.
Oh, there we are. That was Daddy's old, oh, there we are again.
So that
Oh,
was,
I had a head of hair, didn't I?
yeah, you did.
Oh, J.B. Looper and Spot, our little bull terrier. Oh, mercy. There's Ella Jean Frog and Kitten. Now, where's Kitten? There's Margaret Frog.
She's right in the
William Luther Beatty. I don't know who that. There's Kitten, right, second row right there. See her
right in the
ears
middle.
sticking out.
Yeah.
Oh, and Katie Evans right here beside her. Oh, that's Jessie Ray. And look at her ears.
Got Granddad's ears.
The bane of her existence. That's sweet. Oh, there we are. Now, do you know all these people?
No, do you?
Oma, what was Oma's maiden name? Mary James Howard. Over here's Lola Wright.
On the far left?
Yeah, and Kitten and me and Oma, and I think that's Mary Elizabeth Wright, Margaret Beatty, and Evelyn Bertram, and the two little girls. One was the Evelyn Taylor, I think, and one was the pastor's little girl. I'm not sure. But that was the 150th anniversary of Jamestown or something. Mm-hmm. Oh. Daddy and Kitten. Oh, do you know how we kept our hair looking like that? Pin curled it every night, and we had a ton of hair. Oh, well. There we are, Fay Hull. And that was my grand piano. They'd given it to me, you know, for my 16th birthday. And Mother said if I would do a certain piano piece and a solo that I did, I think it was the Holy City, if I would perfect that, she'd buy me the best piano they could afford. You know how much they paid for that Steinway? $1,200.
Good gosh.
I sold it for $12,000.
How did you all get into the Casements?
We were in Ward Belmont at Nashville. Kitten was in high school. I was in first year college because I dropped everything I was doing and I wasn't any good as a student at all. So that's why I wanted to go where they offered music. And Mother and Daddy were gracious enough and able to send me with her. Now she lived in another dormitory because that was high school, and I lived up in the other place. But anyway, sometime Kitten heard this girl talking about she was going to school in Florida and really sold it to Kitten. Kitten really wanted to go there. So when she was home, she talked Mother and Daddy letting her transfer down there. And Mother, she also sold Mother because Mother heard that there was this wonderful voice teacher from the Metropolitan who was down there because of his sinus. He couldn't take New York anymore, so he'd moved to Florida and he was teaching voice. Well, he was wonderful. My piano teacher thought everything I wanted to do was far above my skill level, but my voice teacher thought I could do anything if I'd just work hard enough. Anyway, one thing else I remember about Mother and Daddy coming down there, Daddy said he was going to come home and sell the store and go back down there and become a bell cap. They made such good money. Because Daddy was having to tip every time anything happened. Anyway, I don't know why you remember that stuff, but it was fun. Oh, look at her hair, isn't that? Oh, that was her honeymoon. Wasn't that her going away outfit?
Maybe so. I never knew.
Now that was much. Wow, look at that hair. I want you to know that came from being pin curled every night. That's good. Oh, and that's beautiful. Oh, there we are in the Maid on the Bamboo screen. Oh, those costumes were gorgeous. Maudie had picked, Miss Van Noy, had picked them up on some of the cruises with her family, and they went into Japan. But I had a real role.
I love that picture.
And Mother and Daddy were there, you know. That was another thing. They were really neat about that kind of stuff, except when they were coming to UT every week that Frank came down. And Kitten had found, oh, Kitten was such a, she just had fashion all over her, always. And that place was astonishing. Oh, isn't that good of Kitten?
Was that a graduation picture or something?
I don't remember that as being that. It had to be. There we are at the Stork Club. Mm-hmm. Now, June Rose, Kitten had gone to, she was being married in the Waldorf Astoria, and Kitten had gone up to sing in her wedding. Kitten called me and she said, "Can you get dates for all these girls?" She said, "They're tired of the nightclubs. They want to go slumming." So and they're Jewish. They're all Jewish. So I say to Frank, "Can you get them dates?" And he said, "Sure." We got dates, and he took us down to the Old Howdy Club in New York City. And the waiters were all men dressed up like women. Now, nobody had heard of a gay at that point, but we're getting an education because they're hanging all over the guys, and one of them said to Kitten, "Jealousy will get you nowhere." Oh my, isn't that good? Oh, that's so good of her. Who's that, Elizabeth?
No, that's Jessie
That's
Ray.
Kitten, Jessie Ray, yeah.
In the newspaper in 1946.
Because she's tall enough she can sit up and show her waist, and I'm not. I was always mad at her because she...
It's strange that you all had two different body types, didn't you?
But we borrowed each other's clothes all the time. But now that one didn't work. At least for me. They put the second story on the house. You know, when the house was, I started to say born, when the house was built, it just had one story. And they raised the roof, and which was the biggest waste in the world, but Mother wasn't ready for the farm. You would have thought she was moving out in the wilderness. Anyway, they raised the roof on the house and made it the two-story. Well, you've seen the one when it was they call that a bungalow, I believe. Mm-hmm. And this was just in time for Kitten to be in UT, and joined a sorority, and that's a whole nother story. But and started really dating. Her grades were as lousy as mine had been, but nevertheless. And she started bringing all these kids home. Now, we had 4 bedrooms, really 5 with the one downstairs. But she used to bring kids home to spend the weekend. And Mother and Daddy were fine with it, you know. I mean, Jamestown, spa vacation. The infamous George Day. Did I ever tell you what Frank said about him, or did?
Mm-mm.
He had a name of being not somebody you'd want your daughter to date. He
A
was,
reputation, a playboy?
guess that'll be a nice way of saying it, yeah. Mother and Kitten and Jimmy Byrne. He's got big ears too.
Mm-hmm.
Mercy, I don't remember a thing about that. That's a good picture, Jimmy. I could have married him if it hadn't been for Frank. Oh, there's their engagement picture. The write-up and under there, have you got the write-up for their engagement?
Mm-hmm.
It said something about this was a new way of showing the, oh, you've got all that. I thought that was interesting.
They didn't do engagement pictures back then. They just did wedding pictures.
Oh, that's that's good of them too.
I think this is right before they got married. See, there's the old jailhouse.
Oh.
That's in Grandma's backyard.
Oh my, that's on one of the rocks they brought out of the, Lord, that's a good picture. Oh, I'm so glad to see that. I hadn't seen these. Look at her dress, isn't that pretty?
Yeah, I just came across these pictures recently. I just didn't know if you knew much about them because you're in some of them.
This is after the top had been put on the house.
Yeah.
They had an interior decorator come and do the house who was a disaster. That's me and Mother and Kitten and Joe. Why are they laughing?
Well, wait until you see the rest of these pictures. I don't know what was going on. I think they were on a scavenger hunt or something.
That's so good of your dad. Oh, so's that.
You're trying to get hold of that Coca-Cola and he's not letting you have it.
Oh my. You know what she always asked? When you'd get a date or anything, how tall is he? When
She always
I told her I was glad Frank was tall enough to be in her wedding. When she and they teased her. Oh, that's sweet. They teased her about.
Look how young she looks there.
Huh?
Look how young she looks there.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Because she was taller than so many of the guys, you know. What in the world?
See, I think they're on a scavenger hunt or something. He's riding a mop and she's riding a broom.
Well, where are they?
Do you recognize, is that Maxine somebody?
Oh, is that Maxine Lyon?
Well, she looks familiar. I don't know who that is on the front porch.
It could be Maxine Lyon. Uh-oh. Now there's your grandmother, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's Parky. That's
Oh,
Carl's.
Parky.
Yeah.
Look at Kissen's waist.
Yeah. I think they're right before their wedding, or after their wedding, I'm not sure. There's Grandma McCamish behind
And Mother and Daddy, who's this guy?
Ralph Snyder.
Oh, the best man.
Yeah.
And I'm the maid of honor and matron of honor by that time, and Kitten and Joe. There she is.
Yeah.
We were so thrilled that she did, Mother and your mother and Kitten and Joe. Oh, that's good of Joe, too. And he's tall, thank goodness.
Well, Grandma dressed you all, though. Y'all were always beautiful. Grandma didn't mind spending money on your all's clothes.
I know. More than she should have. We'd have been better off if somebody'd saved some money. Oh, now that's christening. Do you know who all these are? That's Barbara and Ben, what was his name? Stockton. Barbara's husband.
Is that Jimmy Stockton? Is that Jimmy Stockton getting christened?
Yes. And the Sloans, and that's Jerry, and I've forgotten what his wife's name was, and that's John Sloan he's holding, I think. Now that's a heirloom christening gown. And that's Frank and me and Lance and Joe and Kitten and Patty. They all were christened together, and that's Jamestown Methodist. Is that Patty?
Yeah. I guess that's me and the preacher in the middle. Me as a baby.
Oh, gosh, Joe. Oh, I love that.
Look at my ears. Tell me I didn't get those mom's ears.
Oh, that's so good.
Those looper ears.
That's great of everybody. Oh, that's polio.
That was from the Nashville Banner. That's you and Mom fundraising over there.
Right.
And Dad and Patty, their polio.
I know. Oh, what a hard time that was, Joe. That was so scary. Oh, it was so scary. Now, who's that?
I think that's Dale Pyle.
Oh, yeah. Is this Tommy?
Right. No, this is me.
Oh.
And Patty.
All right, there's our pastor. Daddy and Joe, and I don't know who the two little boys are. Who says that?
There's you, Lance, Frank. I think this is Patty. Sitting on Frank's lap. And then Mom.
Yeah.
Grandma Stella, Chester, and Dad.
Okay, Sergeant and Gracie and Uncle Clarence and me and Joe and Mother. No, Kitten and Joe and Mother.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Frank and I didn't get to come to his funeral. I was so sorry. Oh, that's when we were really, oh gosh, that was when Frank brought the wrestlers and the,
Harlem
Globetrotters. How did
fundraisers?
he ever get such a thing? How did he ever have the nerve?
Who were the wrestlers, do you remember?
No, I don't remember, but I remember the whole situation. You know, our sheriff drew a gun on one of the wrestlers. Oh, you didn't hear this?
So where was the wrestling match? Where was it at? In the school?
In York Gym. And we packed it because the wrestlers were well known, and for a long time the big wrestling, you remember that belt that they won? It was in our store window to draw people to come, and the place was packed. Now they've got this rink set up down in the floor, and they're doing their thing, and it'd been pretty tough, and the guy that's suffering is, he's just really acting. And if you'd ever watched any wrestling on TV or anything, you were clued in that this was all, but our sheriff wasn't. So one of the wrestlers got another one with a loose piece of rope. I'm sure it was by design, and he was choking him like this, and the guy's screaming for mercy, and our sheriff drew a gun on him and said, "Turn him loose."
Was he
It
part
made
of
all the papers. It was everything. Unfortunately, there was somebody there from one of the newspapers. We looked like a bunch of idiots. Oh my word, that was Daddy's 50th birthday, I think. Fay Hull beside me, Maxine Wallace,
right in the middle?
the two Williams people. That's Daddy and Steve Frog over here on the end, is it?
I don't
And
know.
Joe and
Out there?
and Jack who? They moved there, remember? Jack and Norma, let me tell you that story. Pine Haven had only manufacturing everything that we had ever had at that point, and they were making wooden boxes to hold ammunition for the war. It was a wartime contract. You went out on strike, they closed it. Those idiots from Jamestown that were working out there, the owner his wife got sick and he had to go back home to Chicago. Those idiots. Jack kept saying, the factory will close. Oh, that's all right. The union will get us jobs other places. Where? Jamestown had. I mean, it was stupidity personified. And they closed. They went out on strike. They lost all of it, and it closed. Well, Jack and Norma Schaefer, that's her beside there. That's Norma.
Right in the speckled dress right next to Grandma.
Yeah. And that's Aunt Carrie beside her, Fay Hull.
Is that Fay?
Yeah, and that's Barbara Stockton by Kitten. And that's Susie Norman, and that's Jimmy. Oh, and Brooks is in the middle, that one. That's Brooks Stockton. Lord, look at Kitten. Isn't she beautiful? Look at that. She just knew how to dress. And she had that clothes horse figure. Tall and skinny and, oh. Yeah, what was it?
It was just a pig, a little
Pig.
P-I-G, and it was a pig's butt. But it was a silly joke. And I love the picture because that's so typical of her.
Yeah.
When she was shocked. And that's so typical of Dad.
Dad.
And his laugh.
I know.
That's so typical of those two.
That's precious.
Yep.
Oh, that is precious of both of them.
Yep.
Well, now, Patty and John, right?
Right.
Frank and Uncle Fonzo,
Yep.
Zeb.
Uh-huh.
Is that Joe in front of him?
Yep.
And Daddy and Mother and me and Kitten and, is that Bruce?
I don't know.
Is she holding Bruce?
No, Bruce is up there.
Oh gosh.
See, there's Bruce and Lance and Johnny and Wendy. There's my wedding.
I know Patty, but I don't guess I know any of those people.
Well, that's her son, Thomas,
Right.
and Dad.
Joe.
Me, Cheryl, Mom, and that's little John, Patty's youngest,
Okay.
and that's her oldest, Patrick.
Oh, and who's right there beside that?
Bruce.
Who?
Bruce.
No kidding.
Yeah, she was
Now,
good.
who's that?
Martha Hoke.
Oh, of course. Look at Kitten's hair. Oh, it's so mad at her. I was so furious with her. Mimi talked her into dyeing her hair blonde. That's Jerusalem.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh, is that Elise?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. Karen still talks about that she couldn't go near Ken. That Ken didn't want her to wait till Elise got there. Yeah. Oh wow.
And that's at Anna's wedding. And Elise was in her wedding, and she was just exhausted because she danced with all those older girls, all Anna's friends, and she just got exhausted, and so she fell asleep in Mom's lap. I always loved that picture.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. Mom adored that little girl.
I love the look on Kitten's face.
Yeah. She was so happy when she had Elise around.
Oh my, yes.
Gave her a lot of joy in the last years of her life.